Welcome back to another fancy episode of Mac Music Review. In this episode, we are looking at the album. We're not looking at one album, we're looking at multiple albums, because in this episode, we are ranking the 21 Pilots discography. And just a shout out before I hop into the ranking, I'm only ranking 4 albums, starting with their self-titled album, and then, of course, the popular ones, Vessel, Blurryface, and Trench. A lot of people don't know about their self-titled album because it doesn't have any hits on it. If you've been to their shows, they usually play one song from that album. One year they did Addict with a Pen, and then they did Taxi Driver. For one concert they did Addict with a Pen, another concert they did Taxi Driver, which is really cool. And Taxi Driver, they've stated, is one of their favorite songs. So one of Tyler's favorite songs. Anyway, I'm not ranking Regional at Best because I haven't listened to it, and because it's not available on streaming unless you count like SoundCloud, but that doesn't qualify for me. It needs to be on Spotify, it needs to be on Amazon, it needs to be on iTunes. It's not on any of those, so I'm not including Regional at Best in this ranking. But here we go, starting with number 4, the worst 21 Pilots album. Ironic, isn't it, that the most popular 21 Pilots project, the one that really put them on the map, is, in my opinion, their worst album. And the reason for this is actually stated in the album, where he says, a few of these songs feel common. I'm in constant confrontation with what I want and what is popping in the industry. It seems to me that singles on the radio are currency. My creativity is only free when I play in shows. Which definitely shows if you go to a 21 Pilots concert, because the Blurryface 21 Pilots concert is the best concert I've ever been to in my entire life. It is incredible. Every song they did from Blurryface was absolutely stunning, but this album is their worst, and it has plenty of great songs on it, but it just feels the most generic. It feels like they're making pop songs. It feels like they're trying to conform to a certain medium, which 21 Pilots have absolutely never done. They're always outside the box and super creative, except for this album, where they're doing these structures that, are conventional, and they're trying to make their lyrics more conventional, and they're trying to make their music more conventional, and it still is very creative, and it still is a very good album. It's just easily their worst, in my opinion. At this point, 21 Pilots were asking, how do we follow up one of, the most successful albums of all time? It was Blurryface, I heard, was the first album to have every single song certified gold, which means a lot. It means that literally people were listening to every single song on the album. They were listening to the album as an album and not just as singles. Like all these other albums that chart, not every song is a hit. That means every single song people were digging. People were listening to it a lot, which is crazy. I don't know if any other albums have hit that certification yet, but it's crazy that they were the first ever in all of history to have every single song certified gold. That is so cool. But anyway, they followed it up with Trench, which is more creative, it's more ambitious, it's longer, of course. It literally is a bigger album, and it was just better, in my opinion. It was, like I said, more creative. I think the music was just better. I just think they were pushing the boundaries more. They were just trying to do more, trying to make songs that are more outside of the box, make songs that were less radio friendly. And of course, with them doing that, they didn't have all this success on the mainstream pop charts, but they didn't need it because their songs were being played on alternative radio. Songs like My Blood, I think is the name of the song, and The Hype became a hit, which is kind of an unlikely hit. Chlorine became a hit, another sort of unlikely thing. But great hooks, great lyrics, great music. This is a really great album. Trench. It's very, very good. 21 Pilots' sophomore record, if you don't count, I guess Regional at Best is officially their sophomore record. 21 Pilots' third album, the second one that was released on all the streaming services, was their real claim to fame. It was on the label Fueled by Ramen, which is a bunch of big alternative acts that are more in like the mainstream alternative. People like Panic at the Disco, and I think Fall Out Boy is on it as well. And there's a bunch of artists on Fueled by Ramen, including 21 Pilots, who have gone on to be the biggest name on that record label. I don't even know if they're still with Fueled by Ramen, I don't know. But Vessel is a complete departure from their first album, the self-titled album, in that this one was the first one that had Josh Dun on it, because the first one was just Tyler. What's his last name? Tyler Joseph. The first one was just Tyler and some other people, or one other person, who wasn't Josh. And now this is the first album with Josh on it, I believe. I don't think Regional at Best had Josh on it. I shouldn't be saying all this. I really don't know for sure. Anyway, this was the album that put them on the map. And what it was electronic music mixed with rap. That's literally what it is. With a really, really weird rapping style that doesn't sound like anything else. And lyrics about suicide. Super, super deep, multi-level lyrics about depression and loneliness and suicide. And a bunch of really dark themes and guns and suicide again. And, you know, it was an album that a lot of people really resonated with. It has some of the favorite songs in the entire 21 Pilot fan base, like Migraine, specifically Car Radio. That's widely considered to be, a lot of people say that's the best song they've ever done, especially in their fan base. It was Watch Mojo's #1 21 Pilot song. But this album was huge. It's very well written, extremely creative musically, and the really good rapping as well, really great lyrics and lyricism. It is a really, really special album, and one of their best, easily, in my opinion. The next album that I want to talk about, the best 21 Pilots album, is the one that the least amount of people have heard. There are people who do not know that this album exists. There are huge 21 Pilots fans who don't even listen to this album, or they know almost never. They just like, oh yeah, that existed, because it was a completely different band at that point. I told you, the only person from 21 Pilots is only a two-person thing, Tyler Joseph and Josh Dun, and this didn't even have Josh Dun on it. This was only half of 21 Pilots. I don't even know who the other people on this album were. But this is their best album. It's amazing. The songwriting is amazing. The lyrics are amazing. The music is amazing. This album is much slower than anything else they've ever done. It was really a bunch of ballads, a bunch of really thoughtful ballads with these really unique music. Sometimes it was very, very encouraging, like on songs like Johnny Boy. Sometimes it was very just upbeat and fun, like on the Pantaloon. Sometimes it was very dark and mysterious and just had all this weight to it and just so much depth. Songs like March into the Sea, I think is what it's called. I could be getting the name wrong. But this is an incredible album. And it's one of the best albums of the 2000s, in my opinion. It came out really late, December 2009, but it's in my list of the best albums of the 2000s because I love it so much. It's a very special. I know I said that about Vessel, but this is a truly, like, amazing album. It's really, really fantastic. Please do not miss 21 Pilots' debut album, especially if you like any of their other stuff. I just think this is them at their best, even though it's very different from all their other stuff. It's just a really, really fantastic album. Yeah, go listen to it. I'm sorry the camera kept switching. My tripod sucks. This is terrible, and the audio quality sucks, and I'm just talking bad. I woke up recently. This isn't good. This isn't a good video. Please watch a different 21 Pilots ranked video. Just click off of this one right now. I mean, it's too late. You've watched too much of the video, but this one sucks. Anyway, I like 21 Pilots. I used to listen to them a lot. I used to be a huge fan. I've seen them live twice, which is insane. That's crazy that happened twice. I can't even believe it happened the second time. The first show was the best, in my opinion. The Blurryface tour was just amazing. I don't think any concert will ever be that good. So cool. It was a show. It wasn't a concert. It was a performance. It was a theatrical, epic show. Kind of like what AJR does. I highly recommend you see AJR live because their live shows are incredible. They're so cool. They did this thing called One Spectacular Night, which I didn't watch, where you bought like a virtual ticket, and I don't know if they were like doing it in real time and then recording them doing it. Like, it was weird. It was a weird thing they did, but I'm sure it was great. Even without the fan interaction, I'm sure it was still really, really cool. But yeah, you should see AJR live. You should see 21 Pilots live back when live shows are a thing. The vaccine just came out, so maybe yes. Thank you for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.